Okay, so ready to dive into a new AI tool.
Always. What have you got for us?
So it's this tool called Perplexity that we're hearing more and more about,
Yeah.
and everyone's saying,
Yeah, is it a Google killer?
yeah, is it like the next chat GPT?
Right.
Is it going to replace everything? Like, we need to figure out what's really going on with Perplexity.
For sure.
So you've been digging into a ton of YouTube videos about it.
I have. Yeah, a bunch of different experts kind of breaking it down
Yeah.
from all different angles.
Yeah.
Some are comparing it to ChatGPT and Google.
Hmm.
Some are just doing feature reviews. Some are even just showing how they use it in their daily lives
Okay.
for totally different things, from planning a trip to Japan to like doing PhD research. So yeah, it's pretty wild.
Okay. So then let's back up because maybe some people haven't even heard of this.
Sure.
What is this thing?
Yeah.
What is Perplexity?
So it's not just a search engine and it's not just a chatbot.
Uh,
It's kind of like this research assistant that combines the best of both worlds.
Hmm.
So like think about when you get stuck in like a research rabbit hole.
Yeah.
You're going from Google search to Google search, you're clicking on all these different articles, you're trying to synthesize all this information.
Yeah.
Perplexity basically streamlines that whole process.
So instead of giving me like 10 blue links, it's
I mean,
going to give me like the.
It's going to synthesize it for you.
Oh, wow.
It's like having a really, really smart research librarian
Yeah.
who's already read all those articles
Okay.
and distilled it down to like the key takeaways. And then on top of that,
Yeah.
it actually cites its sources.
Oh, that's huge.
Yeah,
Especially like these days, you got to be so careful
absolutely.
about what you're reading.
That's one of the biggest things that it has going for it, in my opinion,
Mhm.
is that it actually will tell you
Yeah.
where it's getting this information from.
You can actually like fact check it.
Exactly.
Go back to the source and be like, okay.
Yeah, and that's a level of transparency that we just don't really see with a lot of other AI tools out there right now.
Totally. And honestly, I don't even care what it's doing if it doesn't have ads.
Right.
I am so over
Well, that's clean interface.
like, yeah, all of my Google searches these days, it's like, how do I even get to
Yeah.
a real result?
How do you get past the ads? How do you get past the shopping? It is nice to have a clean interface.
It's refreshing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay, let's say we've got Perplexity pulled up.
Okay.
I'm ready to do some research. What do we do?
So it really all starts with the prompt, like most of these AI tools do.
Okay.
And these experts actually had some really good advice for this.
Yeah.
One of them was saying,
Yeah.
basically think about it like you're having a conversation.
Okay.
So instead of just typing in keywords, think about how you would actually ask a human expert for help.
Okay.
So you can get a little bit more conversational with it.
Gotcha.
Don't be afraid to,
Right. Right.
ask it more complex questions.
Give it more context.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The more context you give it, the better it's going to understand what you're looking for. And speaking of getting specific, there's this really cool feature called Focus. Have you heard about this?
Oh, yeah. It's like a filter, right? For
It's
your
sources. Yeah, you can actually tell it what types of sources you want it to prioritize. So
Well,
you only wanted to pull from academic papers, you can do that. Or if you're trying to troubleshoot a tech issue and you only want results from Reddit, you can do that.
oh, that's smart. So, like, if I'm, like researching a company's financials or something, I could
Uh,
be like, yo, Perplexity, just,
Just give me Wall Street Journal.
yeah.
Give me like the actual, reports and stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah, totally. And you can even tell it to prioritize like certain websites over others. So
Oh, wow.
it's super granular like that.
That's amazing. Okay, so now the big question that I know everybody's thinking because the free version sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Perplexity Pro.
Yeah.
What's the deal? Is it worth it?
Right. So that is the $1,000,000 question, because the free version, honestly, is already really impressive.
Okay.
But Pro does unlock a few extra things.
Like, give me the rundown.
Okay. So first of all, you get access to more powerful AI models.
Okay.
So, they're using like GPT-4 with the Pro version.
Okay.
So it's kind of like if the free version is like a skilled researcher, the Pro version is like that researcher, but they have a PhD.
Gotcha. Okay, and what does that actually look like, though?
Yeah. So basically it affects the quality and the depth of the responses that you're going to get.
Okay.
One expert actually described it as being like different lenses on a camera.
Oh, okay.
So like the Pro models, because they've been trained on so much more data,
Yeah.
they could just capture these like nuances and insights that maybe those standard models would miss.
So it's like getting a sharper image.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
And speaking of these models, I thought this was interesting.
Yeah.
One expert, Jeff Sue, I think was his name, he was saying that even when you're using the same model, like GPT-4,
Right.
Perplexity and ChatGPT will still give you different answers.
Oh, that's so weird because aren't they running
Yeah.
on the same?
So it all comes down to how these models are trained.
Okay.
So there's this process called fine tuning.
Okay.
And it's basically like you have two really smart dogs, right?
Oh,
Like
right.
feel like they're both incredibly intelligent, but you train them for totally different purposes.
Okay.
So you might have like a sheepdog,
Yeah. Okay.
whose whole thing is herding and guiding.
No.
And then you might have like a search and rescue dog
Right.
whose whole job is to like locate people and
Totally different skill set.
right. They're both really smart dogs, but they've been trained for different things.
Okay.
So in this analogy, Perplexity is kind of like the sheepdog.
Yeah.
It's really good at efficiently guiding you to the information.
Okay.
ChatGPT is more like that search and rescue dog.
Okay.
It's out there, sniffing out these creative possibilities.
So like more creative writing stuff.
Yeah, if you're trying to write like a screenplay or a poem or something,
Yeah.
ChatGPT might be better at that. But if you're
Yeah.
looking for like factual cited information,
Perplexity is your go-to.
exactly.
Okay. So it's all about using the right tool for the job. And there's this other cool thing with Perplexity I feel like we haven't even talked about yet, which is collections.
Oh yeah, the collections.
What is that all about?
So this is where Perplexity, I think, really goes from being like a helpful research assistant
Okay.
to like a full-on knowledge management system.
Okay.
So think of it like you're building your own personal Wikipedia.
Wow. Okay.
One of the experts we were watching, he was actually using Perplexity to research volcanoes.
Okay.
And so he was using collections to like keep all of his research in one place.
So instead of having like 15 different Google Docs
Yeah.
and browser tabs open,
It's all centralized.
that's really nice.
Yeah, you can actually add prompts to each collection.
Oh, really?
So every time you start like a new research thread within that collection,
Right.
those prompts are automatically applied.
So if I have like a trip to Japan collection,
Exactly.
I could say like anytime I ask you something about Japan, I want you to prioritize.
Exactly. You could say like prioritize travel blogs,
Yes.
local restaurant reviews.
Yeah, and like maybe some historical stuff too.
Yeah.
Because I want to learn about the places I'm
Like having a personal travel agent who like remembers every detail
Yay.
and tailors the recommendation specifically to you.
That's awesome. Okay, so it's like this research assistant who's learning your preferences
Yeah.
over time.
Learning and adapting
Yeah.
as you use it.
That's really cool. Okay, so as amazing as Perplexity sounds, though,
Sure.
obviously no AI is perfect.
Of course not.
Are there any limitations that we should be aware of?
Yeah. I mean, like any AI, it does have its limitations. And one expert actually, he called this the Pompeii paper challenge.
Pompeii paper challenge.
Yeah, I was trying to find an academic paper about Pompeii,
Okay.
specifically about like fresco painting techniques,
Okay.
and Perplexity couldn't find it.
Really?
Yeah.
That's so weird because it's supposed to be so good at research.
Right. And it is for a lot of things.
Yeah.
But I think this just highlights that its knowledge base,
Okay.
while vast, it's not limitless.
Right.
It's still learning and evolving,
Yeah.
especially when it comes to these super niche topics.
So don't throw away your library card just yet.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's a really valuable tool.
Yeah.
But we do have to remember that even these advanced AIs are still works in progress.
Right. It's not going to be
Yeah.
perfect right out of the gate.
Exactly.
Okay. Well, that's good to know. And I think it's a great reminder that, like,
Yeah.
this is a new
It's a new frontier.
frontier. And so
Ultimately.
we should be excited about it, but also,
Be aware.
yeah, temper our expectations a little bit.
Absolutely. And, speaking of how we're using these tools, I thought this was really interesting.
Yeah.
One of the things that we found was that 78%
78%.
of knowledge workers who are using AI at work are doing so in secret.
What? Are you serious? 78%? Why is everybody being so secretive about their AI use?
Right. It's like this weird thing.
Yeah.
And the experts are kind of speculating that it's maybe a fear of job displacement.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Right.
If you're like, oh, I can automate my job with this thing,
Right.
I'm not going to tell my boss about it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or just even like a lack of clear guidelines
Right.
around AI use in the workplace.
Right. If my company hasn't come out and said,
Right.
hey, you can use this
Right.
to make your life easier,
Yeah.
I don't want to be the first one to like
Exactly.
rock the boat.
You don't want to be the guinea pig.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. So I just thought it was fascinating that like this is happening, and it really speaks to how much potential AI has,
Right.
that people are integrating it,
Right.
even without like widespread adoption or endorsement,
Yeah.
because they're seeing the benefits firsthand.
Right.
It's like this quiet revolution happening.
Yeah. It's like everybody's having this productivity party
Right.
and nobody's told the boss yet.
And the boss has no idea.
Yeah.
Pretty great.
That's really interesting, and I think it speaks to why Perplexity is so exciting,
Yeah.
especially that free version, 'cause
Yeah.
it's like you can jump in right now.
It's so accessible.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's so cool about this new wave of AI tools is that they're
Yeah.
making this stuff accessible to everyone.
It's democratizing knowledge. It's
Exactly.
like this whole, like, underground movement of people using AI.
Totally. It's like the early days of the internet or something,
Yeah.
where it's like, you kind of had to be in the know
Right.
to even know what to do with it.
Yeah, and now look at it.
Exactly. And now it's like completely ubiquitous.
Yeah, and I think it speaks to, like, this larger point about how we're using these tools because, like, Nathaniel,
All right.
he was saying he uses, like, Twitter bookmarks, Descript,
Yeah.
Perplexity, all these different things
Yeah. He's got like this whole workflow.
to make his podcast every day.
Yeah. It's like this really fascinating system.
Yeah, and it's free.
Right. It's all these free tools.
Yeah, so, like, we get so caught up sometimes
Fine. Yep.
in, like, what's the best AI tool?
Right. Is it this one or is it this one?
Yeah,
And it's like, maybe that's not even the right question to be asking.
yeah,
Maybe the question is, how can we use all of these tools together
right,
to get the results that we want?
because they all have their own, like, strengths and weaknesses.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
It's like having a toolkit. You know,
right,
you don't use a hammer for every job. You
exactly.
need different tools for different situations.
Totally. Okay, so as we're kind of wrapping up here,
Yep.
any other like perplexity tips or tricks that we should know about or any?
I mean, I think the biggest thing is just to try it out. Like the free version is so accessible.
It's free.
Just go in there, play around with it, see
Yeah.
what you can do with it.
Experiment.
Exactly. Because I think that's how we're going to figure out
Yeah,
how to best use these tools is by actually using them.
totally. It's like we always say the best way to learn something is to just dive in and do it.
Exactly.
So, perplexity, everyone, go check it out,
It's free.
see what it's all about. Let us know what you think, and we'll catch you in the next deep dive.
See you next time.